Yes, YouTube. It has been a while. So, hello, and this is Loyal to Law once again, and this time in this video I'm going to show you the benefits and the advanced versions of one of the most underrated and most common subtle stretches that most of the people, if not all of the people around the world are doing. In fact, it is so subtle and so common that you're not going to even be able to recognize or see that I'm already doing it right in front of you. Exactly. And this is the stretch that I'm talking about. Now, hold on for a minute. For those of you who want to just pause this video and watch something else, feel free to do so. But let me tell you this, you're going to miss out the advanced variations as well as the benefits of doing this stretch and having the knowledge of consciously doing this in order for you to do this stretch and be more comfortable every time you're in a long drive going to another state or somewhere else, or you're in a 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour plane ride, you're in a bus, you're going to another destination while you're sitting down and you really want to do some kind of leg stretches. And this is one of them. And the reason why this is one of the most common is because you see a whole lot of people, particularly men, do this kind of stretch, which doesn't really have a formal name yet. So, for now, I'm going to call this, informally, a figure 4 cross-leg stretch. Cross-leg because you're trying to cross your leg, your stretching leg, say this left leg of mine, from your center line and placing it on top of your right thigh. Figure 4 because if I stand up right here, you're going to see or recognize that I'm doing a figure 4 with my legs. See a number 4 right here? Yeah, my right leg does a straight line. So if I sit down, you're going to notice that the number 4 is folded. So that's why I informally call this an informal cross-leg stretch. Now, the benefits of this stretch alone is so good that if you do it constantly, it will really reap and give you huge dividends and benefits. What this stretch does, it first stretches your hamstrings right here. So these are your hamstrings. But most importantly, it also stretches your hips, particularly the tendons, or the tendon that connects your leg bone, which is this huge bone right here, from your hip bone. So by stretching the tendon right here, you're making it more elastic, thus making you more flexible, especially on your legs. Plus, it also helps the back. And so those are the benefits of doing this stretch. Now, another benefit of doing this stretch is if you want a good stretch that would really stretch your legs, but you don't have enough space for you to stand up to even stretch your legs, since our legs are longer than our arms, and you really want to stretch them, you really can't stretch them forward, can't stretch them sidewards because you have limited compact space, especially when you're on a 4-hour trip going to somewhere else. This is a good stretch. And by doing just this alone, really helps alleviate the stiffness from your hamstrings and your hips on either leg. Now, you may notice that some people, when they try to do a figure 4 cross-leg stretch, they can't really make a flat cross-leg stretch like what my right leg's doing here. Reason being is that's the only kind of stretch that they have right on their hips and their hamstrings for now. Now, for some people who are watching this and that's what they noticed from doing this figure 4 cross-leg stretch, there are some ways that you can do in order for you to have a perfect, or not perfect, near perfect, flat figure 4 cross-leg stretch. And this can also be done by the flexible people in doing them as the advanced version, which I'm going to show later. So if you have your leg like this, for example, and you really can't uh, have a straight cross leg, what you can do is to have your, say, right hand here. So if you're crossing with your right leg, use your right hand. You place it gently on top of your knee, like what I'm doing here. See where my hand is, my right hand is? Right here. Now your left hand is going to hold the opposite side. So it's going to also hold the left side of your leg, which is the foot, but it's not going to be on top. It's going to be underneath. So if your left hand's right here, it's going to be underneath right here. Now from here, you can just do it like this, hold it like this for a moment, and as you're going to follow through me with your right hand will gently push your knee, while your left hand will gently lift your foot, like so. So very, very slowly, because this kind of stretch is very, very delicate. You're going to do it in an instant or immediately. You might be able to injure yourself and pop your leg bone out of your hip, and you really don't want that, especially snapping off all the tendons. So your hand position should be like this. So your right hand's here on the knee, your left hand is on the foot, and you're going to do this motion. Very gently, very, very gently, and slowly as well. So from this position, I'm going to place it here, right hand on the knee, left hand on the foot, bottom on the foot. Then you gently press and lift at the same time until you feel the stretch on your hip and your hamstring. Not much on the hamstring, but on the hip. There. As soon as you feel the stretch, hold it for at least 15 to 30 seconds while in this position, as long as you feel the stretch. It doesn't matter if you can only feel the stretch when it's right here. It doesn't matter if you feel the stretch all the way up until here. As long as you feel the stretch, hold it up from 15 to 30 seconds. And then, this is another crucial part. You have to gently release or gently lift your leg and release the pressure that you applied. So if before you're doing this motion gently, you're going to do the same, you're going to apply the same amount of pressure on the opposite direction. So basically you're guiding your leg, because one of the worst injuries that people would have is having problems with the hip, especially on this side, between that are related to the leg bone and the hip bone, especially with the tendons, because sometimes when people make a wrong fall, or if they pop their hip, it's really hard for them to not only walk, but also it's hard for them to recuperate, and they have to go through a long process of rehabilitation for that, and you really, really don't want that. And so you have to really be careful in people out there, those who are really flexible, as I use my left leg here. You see that this one, my left leg is straight, so that means my left leg is very flexible at the hip. And so from this position, you're going to do the same thing on what I showed earlier, but this time you're going to put a little bit more pressure on your on the hand that's on top of your knee. So in this case, this is my left leg, so I'm going to use my left hand on the knee, on the left knee, and your right hand's on the bottom. So you're going to use the same motion, but this time you're having more pressure on this side, on the knee part. You're still doing it gently, but you're applying more pressure on it. Just make sure that you're having some kind of control. When you do so, you lift your foot up, you push the knee down gently up until you feel some kind of stretch on your hip. When you feel that, you hold it for 15-30 seconds. Then after that, the same pressure that you applied, pushing down, should be the same pressure that you should apply as you go back to your starting position. So see, up until you feel the stretch. You really don't have to overextend because, like I said, you're really going to have serious injuries on the hip. And you really don't want serious injuries on the hip. So that's the advanced version and the beginning version for doing this cross leg stretch. And if you're if you're kind of bored and just doing this kind of stretch, you could just do this one. Sometimes do lift if you want, doing it alternatively. Now for those people who really can't do the figure 4 leg stretch, figure 4 cross leg stretch like here, if your problem is not really this one, but if your problem is that you really cannot lift your leg to do a cross leg, there's a real solution to that, but you really need to have some type of space to do it. So, let's fix myself here. You can do this anywhere that has a bench, but in this demonstration, in this video, I'm going to use a coffee table right here, which is exactly at the same level on what I'm sitting, simulating me sitting down on the bench. So what you can do is, I'm going to use my left leg here. So you're going to place your foot like this, as 90 degree, as close to 90 degrees as possible. So your foot must be like this. So if I'm going to do it in a side view, it should be like this. Like so. So it's basically like having your stretched leg, but you're just folding it to the knee part. Now, let's switch again. What you want to do is to try to reach out in front of you. Try, if there's something that you can hold on to in front, that's a good thing. But if not, just try to reach out and having a relaxed back. That's very important, because if you have a stiff back, you would not even be able to reach out in front of you, let alone do the stretch. So with a relaxed back, relaxed straight back, excuse me, try to reach out in front of you and try to pull yourself downwards. So if I do it on this side, try to reach in front of me, have a straight, relaxed back, and I try to reach in front, pulling myself gently downwards. What it does is it really helps me stretch my hips right here and also my hamstrings. Like so. Whenever you feel the stretch, stop on that level of stretch that you felt. Hold it for 15 to 30 seconds. And then gently push yourself back up to this position. Do this for at least 2 to 3 times on each leg, and you'll be able to really feel a very, very, very good stretch. Now, there's a minor problem, so I put the coffee table back to its place. Let me fix myself here. There's a minor problem after you do that kind of stretch, and that'll be standing up. So, after you do that stretch, and you immediately stand up from where you're sitting, you might be able to feel a little soreness on the hip and the hamstring area. So for those who are just beginning or beginners on this stretch, I would really strongly suggest to you to slowly stand up first, so supporting yourself from standing up after you do that stretch. So that's it for one of the most underrated and common stretches that most people, if not all people, do. And I hope that this video had helped you, even in the smallest way possible. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Always train safe for you martial artists out there. And take care.